Hello and welcome to another edition of Witchfinder's Gaming Vault. Today I'm going to be looking at a PlayStation 2 game, and that game is New York Race. Let's take a look at the fact file for this game. New York Race was released in 2001 in European territories. It's published by Wanadu Edition and developed by Callisto Entertainment. The price I paid for this game was a colossal 93 pence. It doesn't have any instructions with it, unfortunately, but I think I got that from CEX in a bundle with a bunch of other cheap games. And the current going rate for this game on eBay is about £5. So pretty cheap game to get hold of if you want to play it. Let's take a look at it now and see if it's worth picking up. Let's start by looking at the packaging as always. As you can see, typical PlayStation 2 packaging. It's got the blue DVD case and it says PlayStation 2 across the top on the black bar. It says inspired by the Fifth Element, New York Race, or NYR for short, and you've got a picture there reminiscent of the film The Fifth Element. If you remember the beginning of that, you've got Bruce Willis driving around in a taxi that's kind of a hover taxi through the New York City, which is now so tall that you can't actually see the roads at the bottom of it. So yeah, that's a kind of rendition of that. You've got the logos of all the people involved in terms of developers and publishers at the bottom there. And the spine is your classic PlayStation 2 spine. So let's move on onto the back where it says white knuckle adrenaline and lightning reactions are the only thing that will keep you alive in the high-speed airborne highways of a future New York City as seen in the action-packed Fifth Element movie. It goes on to say 25 unique flying vehicles to get to grips. Surely that should be get to grips with. 8 different opponents to give you an extra racing edge. Not sure how that gives you an extra racing edge, but never mind. 12 original circuits playable during day or night, and several advanced driving techniques to master. And you can see a hover police car on the back there, which is also seen in the movie, I think, and several screenshots, which, as you'd expect, are shots of vehicles flying through New York City, not on the streets because they're flying. So yeah, I assume this is somehow licensed or related to the Fifth Element. But yeah, and it's not just kind of a cheeky tie-in. I guess there's some kind of licensing going on, but it's quite vague to be fair. So there we go, that's the packaging. As I said, I've got no instructions. We can just take a quick look at the disc if I can get the case open. There it is. So as you can see, it says New York Race on it and a picture of the flying taxi. And that's about it. It's a pretty nice disc, but that's about to go into the PS2 so I can load up the game and play it. So the game's loading up. As you can see, it says please wait in the corner, and a recreation of the picture from the front cover, but in a widescreen look rather than a normal front cover of a PlayStation game look. And then we can see some credits for the publisher Wanadu there. This is another company that's involved with it, Gaumont. As you can see there, their logo is very elaborate. I think this is possibly the company that they licensed the Fifth Element name from. I'm not entirely sure, but it says on the back of the cover that the Fifth Element is copyright them as well, so I think it is. And finally we've got Callisto Entertainment, that's the developers of this game. So lots of nice publisher developer logos. Let's get them over with and get the game loaded, shall we? And it begins with a cutscene of sorts showing New York City in Fifth Element era, and then it cuts to some footage of the game itself, obviously pre-rendered, but you can see there's some things flying around through the landscape of the city, avoiding various objects. This is a sort of demo, if you like, of what you're going to have to be facing when the game loads up, and you have to play it as one of these vehicles flying through the streets, between the buildings, and stuff like that. So on it goes with more footage of the different vehicles that you might get to race in, and a bit of drama there going on. I don't really know. It's nearly over. It's nearly over, I think, or is it? No, it's still going on. Now there's a police car chasing someone as well. Is it done now? It is done, right. Okay, so this is the title screen. As you can see, New York Race, inspired by the Fifth Element, with a bunch of credits at the bottom there. A few options there, which I'm not really going to look at. You can choose a language. Obviously I'm going to keep it in English. There's some credits. You can load a game or you can start a new game, and that's what I'm going to do. So you get to enter your name, which if you didn't know, is Matt. Oh, this is slow to cycle through the letters. There we go. Nearly there, and end. Choose a location. There is a save game in there already from when I've played it before, but I'm going to start from fresh so you can see what it's like from a fresh load up. And let's load the game up now to the title screen. Another cutscene of your hover taxi in its garage, trying to get out, I guess. There we go. No, didn't get out after all. Thankfully you don't have to do that when the game starts. That was just a little thing. So quite long loading time just to get to the menu screen. And here it is. So pretty nice menu screen. You can see the New York cityscape in the background with lots of vehicles moving around. The game's for 1 or 2 players, so I assume you can play split screen. Obviously I'm not going to be doing that. Let's take a look at the options. So you've got controls. I'm just going to keep with the default config, but you can see a couple of interesting things there for a racing game. Firstly, it doesn't use the shoulder buttons for accelerate and brake. It uses the X and circle. You can go up and down, which is not typical for a racing game either. You can use the bonus item. You can pick various bonus items up. We'll get to that. You've also got these strafing controls. You can do a rear view, which you'll never see me do because I'll never remember, and why would you want to look behind you anyway. You can use a horn, and you can also change the view, and that's from third to first person. So those are the options. There are other config options, but they're much the same. You can't use the shoulder buttons as accelerate and brake in any mode of the controls, so we'll just stick with that, which is now saving even though that was the default. I don't know. So there's also audio options. They're just sound effects and music, so we'll just bump those up a little bit just in case you can't hear them. So we'll do that, and yeah, we've got to save that as well now. And new vehicles, well, you have to enter a code. Once you've unlocked vehicles, you can enter a code and get new vehicles, but obviously I haven't got any of that, so let's move on and start the game. And you can see there are 4 different game modes: championship, single race, well you can guess what that is, time attack, I'll just see what the description of that is. In this mode the number of laps is infinite and you just try and improve on your fastest lap time. Yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. And you've got this as well, the keyring, which I know from cycling, I think it is, where you drive around the course and every time you reach a checkpoint, whoever's in last place is eliminated, so to win you've got to be first basically when you go through the last checkpoint. So that's quite an interesting idea, but I'm not going to play that one either. What I'm going to play is the championship mode. So again, moving into the championship mode, at the moment all I can pick is qualification. You can't get to the other modes until you've completed the qualification stage. And it says a major competition is taking place in the dizzy maze of New York streets. Finish at least 3rd in the qualifying race to access beginner category, and press X to continue. And you get a choice of exactly 1 car to start with, which is the taxi, with a crap top speed, pretty crap handling and shield, and pretty crap dive characteristic, whatever that means. So yeah, that's what I'm driving because I've got no choice. And then it starts to load the actual race up. Okay, so get ready. The first race is about to get underway with a variety of different cars all racing against each other. As you can see, they all jet off and I sort of trundle along very slowly to start with. So it is a racing game. The idea of the game is to finish first, or at least in the top 3 to progress. And you're flying in a 3-dimensional space, so you can go up, you can go down, and you can go left and right, quite obviously. And yeah, there's lots of things to avoid. There's other things to pick up, like that's a power up I just picked up, which allows me to target one of the other competitors and blast them like that, like I've just done. Oh, but I've crashed into a bridge now. I'm currently using the analog stick and it's horrible, so what you can also use to steer is the D-pad, so I'm going to switch to using that because you can do more gentle sort of movements with that, up and down. So thankfully it's got the inverted control, so when you push up you go down, and when you push down you go up, although there wasn't the option to change that, so if you don't like that it's tough. So yeah, there's lots of areas where you have to dive down into little areas to get through, like this parking garage. I'm obviously in last place at the moment. I'm doing terribly. It's a very hard game, I'll say that right off the bat. There's a lot of things you can crash into, and any crash will pretty much put you right to the back. So even if you're doing quite well, then it only takes one bump into some bit of scenery and you're all the way at the back again. So I'll be amazed if I finish anything above 8th place, but we'll see. I'll caught up with somebody there because it's giving me the option to blast them, so let's just do that. Maybe I'll get past them. Yeah, I'm in 7th place now. So you've got to weave through the landscape. I've just finished the first lap, almost there. So yeah, you need to do laps in about 1.5 minutes to have any chance of winning or coming near the top. So all the time when you're driving, it doesn't really feel like you're going that fast, but I assume that's your speed in the bottom right corner. You know, doing 200 and something miles an hour now, I think, or maybe that's kilometers, who knows. 251 units of measure an hour, or another unit of measure like a minute or something, who knows. Anyway, yeah, so I'm flying around. I've got no intention of even trying to win this race as it stands unless I get really lucky. You can see there's trains moving around. It's really quite nicely implemented in terms of you know, it's a great landscape to drive around. The problem is having a race through it is really quite tricky. You can see the train going past there. That's really nicely done. You know, it really feels alive. There's cars above you there as well. So yeah, there's some really good elements to it, but yeah, I've just got zapped by somebody, I think. But yeah, it's really quite hard to navigate through it, and for the first level, this is really difficult. So I've just got a blue thing. I'm not sure what it is. That might be the bubble. There's one way you can drop a bubble behind you, and the next person to run into it slows down. There you go. See, there's an elevator thing I've just crashed into, and sure enough, I'm right at the back again. So yeah, there's various places where you can take one route or another as well. Doesn't really seem to make much difference, but oh yeah, we've also got health as well. I forgot to mention that. So above the speedo thing there's a green bar which is basically health. Yeah, if that runs out, then you crash and die as well. So not only have you got to try and win the race, but you've tried not to crash as well, just to make it even more difficult. Now the power up I've got at the moment is the speed boost, I think, so just deploy that. It won't really help, but it'll, you know, get me a bit faster there, and you do finally feel like you're going a bit faster when you press that. And I've just got another one then, but oh, that's bad news, I've hit that. So I'm in 7th place now, 6th place in fact. I'm making a last minute push. I'm actually now into 4th place and into 3rd place due to those speed boosts. So you can see that if you collect the right power-ups at the right time, you've still got a chance of getting into it in a very Mario Kart style of way, and I suppose those power-ups are inspired by Mario Kart to some extent as well. But yeah, I've basically got hit by a missile from another player there and run out of health, so I've died, and that's it. That's the game over. So now I have to press X to continue. As you can see, I failed. Everyone else finished it, so I need to give it another try now. Now you do get multiple tries of each race, as you can see here. You got up to 3 retries. There's kind of no point when it's the very first race, because they do stack up in later races. I think once you've used one retry, you don't get to use it again in another race. So having said that, I may as well just hit retry and give it another shot. Okay, so giving it another go now, and let's see if I can make a bit better progress than the first time. While I'm driving around trying to avoid all this stuff in the streets, or not streets, of New York City, I will talk about graphics, which are quite nice. They're a bit kind of faded, I guess you'd say. I think that's just what the PS2 was like, and it's a fairly early game from 2001 as well. So yeah, you know, obviously they don't look great compared to modern HD 3D graphics, but they're pretty nicely done. There's lots of well drawn things around, things moving around, you know, some use of colour of the ships and things like that. This is just a disaster. You know what, I'm going to restart this straight away because that was abysmal. Let's just go again. Crashing into everything there. So yeah, graphics pretty nice for the time. All moves quite smoothly. Oh god, I've crashed into that thing again. What an awful start. But I can catch up if I get the right power-ups. So you can do things like go through those 2 tubes. Oh, yeah, I got it. Okay, I've got a speed up power up. So now all I need to do is get a good line somewhere and then blast my way through. Let's do it here. Let's go for it. Oh no, I crashed into a corner. It's really hard to see the corners coming up. Yeah, the game is just hard. There's no two ways about it. But you can find different ways to get through it all. So I suppose it gives you a bit of variety when you're playing it. But yeah, so yeah, graphics, as I've said, pretty decent. I think you've got all the billboards on the side, lots of different things around, you know, that make it look like a city. The sound, it's got this really weird kind of jazz dance soundtrack with a guy saying New York City in the background periodically. It's really quite terrible. You know, if it had got a more upbeat soundtrack, I think it would be better. So yeah, that's a bit odd. You've got like the trumpet playing now and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's weird, but you know, maybe it fits with the film to some extent. It was a bit of a weird film as well. I'm doing awful again here. I don't even know which power up I've got here. I just hit it. Yeah, that was the speed boost again, so that'll help. Although I think I'm so far behind everyone that I'm not going to get anywhere near close to finishing in the top 3. But you never know. With the right combination of power ups and a bit of luck, who knows? Anything's possible. That's the first lap over, and actually did it quicker than the last time, despite crashing into a bunch of stuff. So you never know. I can at least see some of the vehicles in front of me, but I really need to angle myself to pick up some of these power-ups, I think, to have any chance of getting further forward. And I think that's the big problem with the game is your vehicle's so slow that you've got no chance of just keeping up with stuff. You've actually got to use those speed ups and things to be able to win it or get to, you know, in the top 3. So yeah, any crash into anything and it's just bad news basically. Oh, I've got to go down there. Yeah, there are places where you've got to dive quite quickly as well. The controls are pretty decent with the D-pad. With the analog stick, almost impossible, I would say, to control it. It's just too erratic. But with the D-pad, just little touches here and there, it's actually pretty easy to control. You can be quite precise. What I haven't mentioned yet is the strafe, and what that means is you can just dodge. So that's left and right straight. You can just dodge side to side, and you can also dodge up and down like that. So that might come in useful if I actually ever remember to use it. Also mentioned that you can play it in first person, so there you go, that's what first person looks like. Not a fan of first person, so I'll put the thing back on it. You can see it's basically just exactly the same with the vehicle taken out of the equation. Hit another one of those trams going up the side of a building. Still in 8th place, nowhere near getting into this one. But then I did almost get up to 3rd place on the final lap last time, so maybe just getting the right power-ups will still help me. It's not looking good though. There's one. So yeah, oh, that's a speed up. So if I just angle myself right here, get through these things first. No, I've hit that. Honestly, let's get around this corner and give it a blast. No, I've gone straight into a girder. Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard. Yeah, it's certainly. I mean, the bends have obviously got the green arrows on, so it should be easy to spot, but when you're actually focusing on what you're doing, it is quite difficult at times to spot when a turn's coming up. I think I've had it here. I don't think... Well, I'm in 6th place now, so... Well, no, back in 7th. That's what I mean. Every other vehicle in the race seems to be faster than you, so you really have got to use the power-ups well and not hit anything to have any chance of finishing in the top 3. And this is just the qualification beginner stage, so yeah, it's not. Now that's the bubble I was talking about. So when you're in the bubble, it makes you go slower. So someone else deployed that on me. Yeah, so there's no way I'm getting anywhere near the front on this one, I don't think. But I'm sort of close to somebody there. Oh, I've got a load of energy from something there as well. I must have picked up. The green power up is a energy boost. It also gives you a shield. So yeah, I mean, I'm still going to finish last, but at least I might actually finish this time, unlike the last time where I got blown up. But I'm going around the last corner here, and there we go. I still lose whether I've got blown up or actually complete it. I still lost. I did it a lot quicker than last time, but then so did everybody else, which is quite annoying. So let's give it another go. I'm not sure what else I can say about the game, so I'm just going to play it and hopefully do better this time. Straight away crashed into a wall. It is, you know, way too difficult for the first stage of a game like this, because flying around in 3 dimensions in a racing game is quite unusual as well. So actually getting to grips with it and having to deal with all this junk around you is really quite demanding, to say the least. Very challenging. It's a bit of a shame. I like the concept of it, but just the qualifying stage is just way too difficult. You know, they could have just put it in a figure of 8 or a loop or something around the city without having all these obstacles in, just so you had a bit of a chance of making some progress. And because you can't unlock any of the faster vehicles or anything like that until you've got past this stage, you could just be stuck doing this forever. I have got past this stage once, and once you do that, it unlocks more races and more cars and things like that. But yeah, it's just really challenging. Oh, so you've only got to have just the slightest knock against anything and you're in trouble. Meanwhile, smooth jazz dance nonsense is playing in the background. Yeah, not the best music for a, you know, a futuristic racing game in my opinion. I don't know if I got anyone or not there. I'm up to 7th place again. Did the lap a lot quicker, but again, so did everybody else, because they're still all in front of me, except for one. No. Oh, yeah, it's just crazy difficult to have to navigate through all this stuff when you're just getting used to playing the game. Is bonkers. Oh, and then you get things like that. I just can't get past that. I've got to go up. Yeah, rubbish. And I'm back down to 8th place. Right, so I'm halfway through the final lap and I'm currently in 1st place thanks to some fortuitous power-ups. So all I've got to do is stay in this position and not crash into stuff, which as you've seen is easier said than done, but let's see what happens. I've got a shield on myself, so that's useful because somebody just fired something at me. So that was timely as well. I say I'm getting quite lucky with the power-ups at the moment. So yeah, as I say, about half of the race still to go. Just got to get through this bit, which is probably the toughest bit to get through without crashing into something, and then try not to get hit by anything. I've fallen back into 2nd place now because someone's taken a faster route or something, I guess. I'm not really sure why. I really don't want to hit that. But yeah, if I can get through these tubes, I've really not got far left to go, so I still might finish in the top 3. Even if I don't finish first. There is a route map on the left, you might have noticed, sorry, on the right, but I do not know if I've ever looked at that properly because of how difficult it is to look at. I've just dropped into 3rd place, but I've only got 1 corner left to go round. Oh my god, I've just finished first, right on the last corner. I did try and blow someone up, so that might have helped, but yeah, there we go. First time I've ever done that, finished first in the race, as you can see, way quicker than any of the previous times. So obviously the enemies kind of rubber band about 5 to 10 seconds in front of you, but no more than that when you're lagging at the back. So there we go, I've finished first, which means I've completed the qualifying round and I can move on to the next race. There we go, I've got 10 points. Lots of saving going on. So as you can see, I can now move up to beginner mode, and you've got to do 2 races and finish at least 3rd to access the pro section, and now you do get some choice of vehicles. Thankfully, you can drive the Pacific Old Lady, which is no better than the taxi, the Pell Straighter 889, again not good on the speed or shield or anything, but the handling's good, and also the Boronov T800, which has got again crap top speed, but the handling and shield aren't too bad. So yeah, I guess we'll try this one. It's got really good handling and see how that looks any different to the other ones. So now the next race I'm going to participate in is New York Station, which has got some branching paths by the look of the map there, and also a large area. Who knows what's going to happen in there. Okay, so let's get this second course going. New York Station. It's got a big viewing area there to start with, and let's see how we go. I think you can already see there's multiple routes through the city again. Oh, I've hit a wall. Very narrow streets, if you want to call them streets. They're not really streets, are they? Kind of gaps between buildings. Wow, what is going on here? A huge sort of atrium with lots of different routes through it. Banged into a couple of things there. Unsurprisingly, actually I was going to say unsurprisingly I'm in 8th place, but actually I was temporarily in 6th place, but now I'm in 8th place, having checked what place I was in and lost my attention. Can't see any power-ups yet. Oh, here's one coming up, so let's see what it gives me. Oh, I didn't collect it. It appears, or someone else collected it, I'm not really sure. What's going on here? Where am I going now? Okay, another big sort of atrium area. There we go. Now I've got a power up. Oh, I'm all over the place. Oh, okay. This is where it splits to two possible routes. Oh, there's like moving things there trying to stop you as well. I don't know where. Oh, I'm in 5th place. Amazing. Well, somehow I'm not doing too badly at this. It's very, very busy again with things to crash into. Just trying to blow one of those enemies up. I don't think I got them. It's not really fair to call them enemies, is it? They're just rivals. Let's not call them enemies. Where am I up to now? Back to the start then, through this big viewing arena thing. I'm in 4th place. Amazing. Let's see how I get on with the second lap. It could all go to crap, obviously, with a couple of bumps. It's all over, of course, as you've already seen from the first stage, but this one's pretty nicely put together again. There's lots going on, as I said. Oops, there we go. That's the sort of thing that'll put you back a few positions. There's all kinds of different ways to go through this central bit. Oh dear, no. Oh yeah, that's bad. I'm back down to 7th now. Look, there's a train. I thought, yeah, that train's carrying a power up there, which was a speed up. So if I can get in a bit of straight now, I might be able to catch everyone up. Try not to crash into stuff. Oh dear, yeah, that's bad. Another sign crashed into and a wall. Yeah, okay. On a straight bit now, almost. Oh, back down to 8th place, but this might help. Let's hit that power up. See if we can. Oh, there's so much stuff in the way. Yeah, I'm back to the split. Let's go to the left this time and see how that goes. Ooh, where am I? That looks like very out of the way there. So I'm in 7th place, so being as high as 4th, not good really. It's not looking good for, oh dear, for the final lap. Oh, this bit's really narrow. Oh, into traffic. Oh, that's another speed up. Oh, this is the time to get it as well, and you've got a bit of a straight. Final lap. Oh dear. No, that didn't help at all. Still 7th place. Got very little energy left either now, so one crash and I'll be in big trouble. Oh, that's handy, thank you very much. It's another speed up as well. Just need to get into a bit of a straight area to actually use it. Oh, going through here is just crazy. And I'm up to 4th and 3rd place now. That's actually pretty decent. Oh, don't go through that. Oh, actually didn't do any harm. So into 2nd place. Another speed up here would be ideal. Oh, I'll just send that after that guy though. This could put me into 1st place amazingly. Yep, it has. I don't know how, but somehow I'm in 1st place. Whether I'll stay there remains to be seen. Depends how I get through this section here. Ooh.
Is everybody ready? Featuring Super Song, Goofy,
oh dear, there's a lot of twists and turns, but I'm nearly at the end. Only I can mess this up now, which is definitely possible. Oh, where's this going? Oh, there we go. Well, I've managed to navigate through that amazingly well, and somehow there's a door there. I was expecting to crash into that, and another one. Oh, I've just been overtaken there, have I? Yeah, I finished 2nd. I mean, that's pretty good going, considering that's the first time I've played it really. I have played it once before, but done really badly. That's amazing. I'm gobsmacked. I was expecting to crash out disastrously there. So yeah, finished second. What happens next? Okay, so I've won 6 points and I can retry if I wanted to, but no, I think I'll just continue. Do I want to change vehicle? No, I don't. I did quite well in that. Maybe the handling was better. It didn't really feel particularly different to the other one, but I certainly was navigating around those bends quite nicely. Wow, this one looks interesting. There's a massive, again, like a huge atrium in the middle of this one, and I've never played this one before, so this could go horrendously badly. This looks very similar to the one I just did, but I guess it's going to change once I get going. Oh dear, what the hell happened there? Oh god, it's even more narrow than the last one, and there's little octagonal tubes to go through and all kinds of stuff. I think whatever happens in this race, I'll probably call it a day after this. You've probably seen enough of the game to get a flavour of what it's about. It is quite an interesting game. Certainly the fact that you've got sort of three-dimensional movement within the race, going up and down as well as left to right, is quite a cool thing. This really is a long tube. In terms of the difficulty level, yeah, it's really hard, and the fact that, oh no, that's a disaster. The fact that you've got, oh dear, yeah, this is going to be terrible, isn't it? The fact that you've got to, you can only play in one car in one race to begin with, and it takes ages and loads of practice to complete that race and get qualified for the later stages, is a bit of downer, because you know there's a lot of variety in here potentially, and it would be nice to have a lot more of the courses unlocked, even if it was only for the single race mode from the start. And the same with some of the vehicles. Maybe you can get codes presumably on the internet to unlock the better vehicles, which might help you get through the earlier parts if you wanted to. Obviously I'm not messing around with stuff like that for this demonstration. In terms of whether I keep it or not, I don't think so. I mean, it's a decent enough game, but I don't see myself ever playing it again. It's kind of, you know, of its time. Graphics are pretty decent, but nothing spectacular, and obviously been superseded by the later PlayStations, so it's not really something that stands out in that respect. It's an interesting idea. Like I say, if they just made it a little bit more accessible for when you're a novice player, then I think it would have been a better package. As it is, it's really frustrating, and obviously I'm doing terribly on this first attempt at this new course, which to be honest is more of the same, apart from this tube, which, why is this massive tube system in the middle of New York City even in the future? It's kind of limited itself a little bit by calling itself New York Race, I suppose. Pretty much all the courses are going to be through the city somehow, and it's just variations of flying through skyscrapers and stuff. Perhaps if they'd set it more around some of the other parts of the Fifth Element, some of the other environments, it would have made it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just not the sort of thing I'm ever likely to play again. Oh dear, that's a wall. So yeah, I don't see myself keeping this one, although it is pretty much worthless. So I suppose if I get £2 for it, then I doubled what I paid for it. So we'll see when I come to sell some of this stuff off. I tend to do in batches. When I've reached a threshold of a few, I'll stick them on eBay. So yeah, I mean, obviously still going, still in 8th place, got a reasonable amount of energy for a change. I'm usually on the borders of getting blown up. This is a huge long course compared to the other two. It feels a lot longer. Oh yeah, some really narrow gaps to fly through again. Could do with the power up. There we go. That's a speed up as well. Oh, this turn there is almost back on yourself. And oh no, oh dear, oh okay, nice to get through there with a bit of a speed up, and I'm actually rocketed up to 4th place briefly, but now I'm back down to 5th and down to 6th and down to 7th, because as with the earlier stage, all the other cars are at least as fast as me and possibly faster, so that's a bit of a downer as well in terms of the ability to keep up with the other cars. Yeah, so don't really have much more to say about it. We've got about half a lap to go. I'm in 7th place. That might be because the 8th place car's blown up potentially. Trying not to crash into a lot of walls that go around this massive hexagonal or octagonal, sorry, structure of tubing. Yeah, big long tube. There we go. Oh no! Ah, yeah, crashed into something again, and keep crashing into those as well. Oh, could really do with a health boost type power up at this point. I don't even know where I'm going. Oh, there I am, in that wall again. And yeah, I'm right back in 8th place again. So the 8th place vehicle didn't get blown up. There we go. I don't think I'm going to make it into the top 3 this time. That's another power up though, and it is a speed up, so well, you never know. Let's blast it and see what happens. Oh dear, no, I'm gonna hit the wall one more time and just crash out in a second. I've got no health left at all. Where am I now? You go through the same bit twice, do you? That massive bit in the middle, perhaps? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, one more crash, and there we go. I've died. Yeah, that's an element you don't really need, as well as having a health bar in a racing game. So yeah, I lost because I crashed. But there we go. I think that's probably enough for this particular game. As I say, not a bad game, not brilliant. It's just a pretty middle of the road futuristic racing game for the PlayStation 2. Am I sure I want to quit? Yes, I think I do. I think I've seen enough. So there we go, those are my thoughts on New York Race. If you've played it or got any thoughts about it, then let me know what you think in the video comments. That completes another review then, and that means it's time, as always, to pick another game out of the tin and see what we play next time around. I say we, I mean I. So let's pull a game out of the tin and see what we get. And next time around, I will be playing Commodore 64 game, Bedlam. So join me for that next time around. Thanks very much for watching this video. See you in the next one.